Hello, hi, and welcome to this episode of the Mandy Meyer podcast. As per usual, this is a podcast where we chat all about your health, your fitness, your goals, no matter what goals they are. I mean, they don't even need to be health and fitness and fat loss related goals at all. They can be any goals that you are working on, because at the end of the day, you achieving any goals that you are working on takes a strong mindset. And if you're a regular listener of this podcast, you'll actually know that, or you will know that this podcast actually leans a lot towards the change in that mindset, building a stronger mindset when it comes to working on your goals and achieving your goals. In today's episode, before we get into today's episode, for all of you who do rate and review the podcast on the podcast platform, so whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, just absolutely thank you so much. I read through the reviews and I see every time someone rates the podcast, and from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. To every single one of you who watch these video episodes on YouTube, I appreciate it as well. Now, before we get into this episode, it's crazy. It's like every single time I start recording an episode of the podcast or I start recording a video, one of my neighbors decide that it's shower hour. I can literally hear the water running because I don't know, they didn't soundproof these places. I'm not even going to tell you what noises I hear from here. But anyway, someone's deciding to take a shower now. And just for reference, it's Friday afternoon and it is 10 to 1. Okay, on a Friday afternoon. That's the time of recording right now. Anyway, we digress. Today's episode is all about how you proceed after having a higher calorie meal or after having a higher calorie day, for example. And the reason why I'm chatting about this topic on this episode today is purely because of what happened to me this morning as I was sitting down to work. And I'm like, this will make a good article. So firstly, I wrote an article about it and I posted it on my Substack account. And then I'm like, you know what, I can turn that article into a podcast episode because it just makes so much sense and it's such a good way of explaining it. So as I was about to sit down and start working this morning, right, I had my cup of coffee with me and I had my bowl of oats, my breakfast bowl of oats with me. I put it all down and I've been doing this for years. And since I started working in an office, I'm talking years and years and years ago, I have never, ever missed my coffee. And I've always drank coffee at the desk when I first start working. And I don't know what happened this morning. I do think it's because I'm a little bit tired and I wasn't concentrating, and because I had that belief of, oh, it will never happen to me. Like the other day, I literally saw someone posting on Instagram that they messed their coffee on their laptop. And I'm like, oh, that's so silly. I'll never do that. Boom, this morning. That's exactly what happened. Well, not on my laptop, because my laptop has a little stand that I put it on just so I can lift it up. But if the laptop was flat on the desk, I would have no longer had this laptop because there was coffee all over that desk. And again, like I said, I'm like, oh, it will never happen to me. And then this morning I just looked at it. I'm like, oh, shit, it happened to me. The message of this is, and I sat there thinking, I'm like, I've got two options here. You know, I've already messed the coffee either now, and I mean, I would have never done this. And I am almost 99% sure that no one else will do this. But go and make another cup of coffee and just throw it all over the desk. Because why? Because I already messed one, so I can just as well mess another one. Or I could have just taken my bowl of oats and said, oh, well, there's already a mess on the desk, so why not just empty out my bowl of oats on the desk? I know you're sitting there thinking, now that's so silly, Mandy. That is so stupid, right? Now I ask you the question. If you have one higher calorie meal or one meal that isn't according to your plan or wasn't according to your plan, why then do you just go crazy or you overindulge in exceptionally high calorie meals with the mindset of, oh, I've already had one chocolate, so what's the point of proceeding with my nutrient dense meals anyway? So you get the message that I'm trying to explain with my coffee incident this morning. When something like that happens, let's use another example. When you were in school or you were doing your tertiary education, or if you are still studying, when you get to the exam room, right, you know question A, you know question B, you know question 3, say you get to question 4 and you don't know the answer. What do? You skip past it and you continue with question 5 or whatever it is, and you continue and you get as much done as possible. One thing you don't do is at question 4, when you don't know the answer, You don't just get up and walk out from the exam room without trying to complete the rest of the answers, do you? No. What happens when you get a flat tire? Do you go and slash your other 3 tires because now you're like, oh, I've already got one flat tire or one of the tires burst, so what's the point of having the other 3 tires on the car? It sounds silly, right? I know it does. And oftentimes people are like, oh, but Mandy, it's my all or nothing mindset. And that's why if I have one thing not according to plan, that all or nothing mindset kicks in. And, and it just goes on and on and on like that. And I'm like, okay, but you don't do that to your car tires. And if you spill coffee on your desk, you're not going to go and take all the other liquids and oats and everything else and just make the desk more of a mess. No. So it's not your all or nothing mindset, because, or else it would be portrayed throughout your life. Okay. Now hear me out here. It's not your all or nothing mindset. What it is you have possibly told yourself that you are not allowed to have certain foods. Okay, now oftentimes when you have those certain foods, then you're like, oh, well, I've already, and I hate this word, I just use it for context here. Oh, well, I've already cheated on my plan. Okay, so instead of then proceeding as per normal and being okay with it, that feeling of guilt starts kicking in, and then it just spirals out of control. But you don't do it, like I said, to your tires or to whatever else, right? If you break a plate in your house, do you go and break the other 5 or 6 plates? I don't think so. I think you go down to the shop and possibly replace that plate, and then you proceed with your dinner parties as per normal. Okay, and that's the sort of mindset I want you to start working on when it comes to your food choices, when it comes to your calorie consumption. If you have one meal that's higher in calories, why? Why are you throwing away an entire weekend? Why? Why are you throwing away an entire week because of one little chocolate or one burger and one beer? Like, again, and I think just hearing this, the way that I explain it will maybe, just maybe, act as a penny drop moment for you, because then you're like, oh, that is rather silly, because it's not about what you do on one day that's going to make or break your progress. It's about what you do consistently over a long period of time. So if you have one higher calorie meal or one higher calorie day or one day where you don't get your step targets, don't go throw it all in the fuck it bucket because you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter now. No, I don't see you doing that with your car tires. Like, I don't. I've checked. I've seen the people. They either get someone to push their car down the road to the garage, to the fuel stop where someone can help them, or they phone a friend. Now, that's also an option for you. If you feel like you might spiral out of control, pick up the phone a friend. Run that thought past them maybe and see what they think about it. They will also be like, no, I don't think it's such a good idea. Eh? So again, that's basically my mishap from this morning with my coffee turned into a very important message to you. I did go make another cup of coffee, but not to throw all over my desk, just to drink it so that I could get through today. It's been a very up and down bumpy day today, I will be very honest. I got hit in the middle of the day with a serious round of period pains as well. But here I am recording this episode of the podcast, because no matter what we are tackling in life, no matter what goals we are tackling or working on, no matter what we want to achieve, there are going to be struggles. There are going to be tough days. There are going to be times where we need to rest and take a break. I mean, this morning at 10 a.m., I was in the bed with a hot water bottle on my tummy, and I just lie there for 30 minutes, right? And again, that just goes to show that, yes, we're going to struggle. Yes, there's going to be tough days. Yes, there's going to be difficult days. You're allowed to take a rest. You're allowed to take a break. I don't know how I've gone so far off track here. Maybe it's still a pain pill that's working through my system. But whatever you do, don't stop working on your goals. Like, totally stop. Take a break. Put the brakes on. Okay, but don't throw away absolutely everything because of one little struggle or one little speed bump, or because you've had one higher calorie day. And that is pretty much my message for today. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend whose desk smells like amazing coffee, Mandy.